For today's Cyber CEO episode,
he is responsible for doing a lot of the numbers that we track for our team and for our clients. He's handling a lot more of the marketing for our listings. He also does all of our social media still. He does all of our video editing. He handles our newsletter that goes out. He caught on really quickly. He took initiative. He went out and sought more information on his own so he could be a really good asset to our team. And that's probably the best thing that I love about Cyberbacker is that all we have to do is say, hey, we think that MK needs some work up in this area, and boom, you guys are on it. He has been made very much a part of the team. We love his personality, his positivity, his drive. He embraces those and he goes through them with grace and class and with a smile on his face. And that's what we love about MK. He is always that positive force on our team.
welcome to Cyber CEO, wherein we talk about how our cyberbackers helped our cyber CEOs take their businesses to the next level. Cyber CEO is powered by Cyberbacker, the world's leading provider of admin support services from anywhere in the world to anyone in the world. Please visit our website www.cyberbacker.com for more details. Okay, another awesome day here at Cyberbacker. My name is Jello. We're back with another episode of Cyber CEO. And of course, we have a very special guest on the show right now. Steve, how are you doing today?
Great. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, we're very excited to have you. So let's get the show rolling. To let you know, we have a lot of listeners who are also business owners just like you. So I need your help here. Can you introduce yourself to our audience? Maybe starting off with, what's your role in the business, Steve?
Sure. So I've been in the real estate business for about 23 years. Started off with my dad, and we worked as a team for about 5 years, and I took it over about 17 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I was a solo agent, and then I started with a part-time assistant, and then I started building a team. So now we have a team of 4, and we are expanding and looking to hire a couple of more people as well in the next coming months.
There we go. That's going to be exciting. Again, growth of the business, right?
Absolutely.
Now, you also have a lot of experience in the real estate business, but I'm curious to know, how about with Cyberbacker? How long have you been with us?
I've had Cyberbacker. MK is our Cyberbacker, and we just finished our 90-day review with him about 2 weeks ago. So 90 days and 2 weeks.
Fairly new in the partnership then.
Yes.
Now, is this your first time working with someone virtual, by the way?
It is, yes.
First go. Now, a lot of us are used to, again, working with people that we can see in the office or meet in the office, right? Now, everything is going virtual. A lot of it is going virtual. How was the transition for you, Steve?
You know, it was actually easier than I thought. I initially I was introduced to Cyberbacker by my MAPS coach, 𝗔𝗔𝗍𝒠. And she was highly complimentary of your organization. And so I reached out. I had an initial consult. It wasn't a good time for me for a Cyberbacker. I wasn't ready for one, but I'd always kept that in the back of my mind. And so we had a director of marketing, which she's no longer with us. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the podcast. But she was just getting a little bit too overwhelmed. And so we decided to add some leverage. And so I went back to Cyberbacker and said, hey, I think I'm ready now. And so that's when we started the whole interview process and needs analysis and all that good stuff.
Now, talking about that hiring process that you mentioned earlier, MK, your Cyberbacker, how did you know that he was the perfect fit for what you needed in the business?
So I had, it was me, and then our marketing director did the interviews. And as you know, it's a really quick process. I mean, it's just boom, 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 boom. I think you kind of referred to it as speed dating, right? So it was pretty much like speed dating. And so they had a bunch of candidates lined up for us, and we would interview each one of them. And then once we were done with one, we'd go to the next one. We had some questions that we had already laid out ahead of time. And then we also had, prior to this, laid out what we were looking for. And so we were it was explained to us that there's a couple of different general paths that Cyberbacker has. One is more people facing and one is more back end. And we needed more of a back end tech person. So those were the candidates that were sent to us, were more of the back end tech people. But how I knew that 𝗙𝗊𝗋 was right for us was, it was just his personality. He matched more of our team, and people felt comfortable with him as they saw him online. Just a very positive, upbeat person. We like to keep that on our team, and he seemed ready and eager to take any challenge that we threw at him, which was great. So we did have a scope of work, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that later as we talk about how that has evolved over the past few weeks.
There we go. Now, talking more about that, the tasks then. During the start of the partnership, you would have to create somewhat of a give-up list, the set of tasks that you're going to be leveraging to your Cyberbacker, right? So what were those tasks originally on that list?
So the big ones that we needed help with was technology, and specifically social media and video editing. Those are the big things that we wanted help with. So our director of marketing was inundated with doing all of this, and she had other things that we needed her to do. So we leveraged 𝗙𝗊𝗋, and frankly, he needed to learn a lot about that stuff. So I was very impressed with the education that he got from his head backer, and how consistently we were being checked in from Cyberbacker to make sure that 𝗙𝗊𝗋 was keeping up with what we were wanting, expectations and so forth. We did have a 30-60-90, which is Keller Williams speak for a plan for what you want him to do for the first 30 days, then 60 days, then 90 days. So it's a very clearly set out set of benchmarks that we would know that there was no ambiguity of if he was being successful, and he would know that too. So we definitely stuck to our 30-60-90. That was something that Cyberbacker wanted us to do as well. And then they would check in with us sometimes more than weekly. And then if there were any workups that we needed to work with him, or you needed to work with him, we would just let you know. And the next day you were already on top of it as far as addressing anything. So what 𝗙𝗊𝗋 really was doing, that 30-60-90 specifically, was starting to learn our social media channels, learning how we talk, how we respond, so he could kind of jump in for us and be very responsive for the team. And then also video editing. So we posted a lot of videos, and my coach had a video challenge of 100 videos in 100 days, and we just couldn't edit all those videos fast enough. So we've been leaning on 𝗙𝗋 to do a lot of that for us, and he's learned, and he's gotten really good editing videos where he is completely independent now and able to do these on his own.
That's going to be very exciting. Again, you already mentioned that we are going to be talking about somewhat of a growth plan for your Cyberbacker, right? So what do you have in store for him for the next couple of months? What new tasks are you going to be introducing to him?
If you would have asked me this question a month ago, it would have been a different answer. And the reason is that, our director of marketing is no longer with us. And so 𝗙𝗋𝗋 was kind of forced into that role out of necessity. So we have an ops manager, Kylie, who runs the team. And so she has, instead of our marketing director, she and 𝗙𝗋𝗋 would talk every single morning about what was going to be happening that day, what was the expectations, what was 𝗙𝗋𝗋's schedule. And 𝗙𝗋𝗋 is very, very rigid as to what he's doing, when it's done. He communicates back to us and so forth. So he worked with our marketing director very closely. So having her out of that equation now made things a little more difficult, because he had to be a lot more independent.
Sure.
Kylie didn't have the time to spend as much time with him as our marketing director did. So she does meet with him several times a week. And now he is responsible for doing a lot of the numbers that we track for our team and for our clients. He's handling a lot more of the marketing for our listings. He also does all of our social media still. He does all of our video editing. He handles our newsletter that goes out. That's just the beginning of the things that he's handling for us. He does a lot of metrics. He's going to be doing some website editing, so he's working on that. All these things he didn't really know how to do when he started with us. So that first 90 days was a huge workup and ramp up for him. But he caught on really quickly. He took initiative. He went out and sought more information on his own so he could be a really good asset to our team without having to worry about us having to train him. And that's probably the best thing that I love about Cyberbacker is that all we have to do is say, hey, we think that MK needs some workup in this area, and boom, you guys are on it. We don't have to be the ones that train him specifically because you're versed in most of the stuff that we use. So all we have to do is say, hey, we want MK to work on this, and you provide the resources for that. And within a couple of weeks, he's up and going.
There we go. So again, here in Cyberbacker, you're not just given a person to work with, but there's a whole team that supports that person, that Cyberbacker, of course. So make sure that there's nothing that falls through the cracks. And again, especially with the things that you mentioned, when it comes to training and adding more things to your Cyberbacker, your trio is always there. Now,
absolutely.
Talking about the partnership that you have with MK, how did this become a successful partnership within the past 90 days? Do you have any tips that you can share to our listeners about this?
So I think we touched on this a little bit earlier, and that's your 30, 60, 90. Yes. You have to have a plan, and you have to communicate that plan very clearly, not only to the Cyberbacker, but also to the Cyberbacker organization, head backer. So they need to be very, very clear what the expectations are. That's probably my absolute number one recommendation is clarity. And then also the second thing would be communication. You have to communicate on a consistent basis. With us, it was every morning. We would have, there would be a mini team huddle between our marketing director and MK for about 15 to 20 minutes. And they'd go over everything that was expected for the day. And then at the end of the day, then we would get a progress report from MK and saying, hey, this is what I was able to accomplish. These are some areas that I need to continue for tomorrow. So very clear communication, very clear expectations, and then check in. So there's a saying, inspect what you expect. Yeah. And so you have to make sure that you constantly inspect what those expectations are to make sure they're being met. And if you do those two things, set clear expectations and communicate and check in regularly, you'll be successful.
There you go. So communication, expectations, and again, inspect what you expect. Because you're just trying to, of course, invest in his success too, because his success is going to lead to the team's success too, right?
Absolutely. And he knows that. The last thing that I would say is, he has been made very much a part of the team. And I think that's really critical. Just because they're not with you, and there are a lot of things that he misses out on because he's just not in the office with us. So, we try to include him in as many things as possible, including our team meetings that we have every Monday. That's mandatory for the whole team. So he's joining us via video, and he participates in that entire team meeting, and he understands what we're doing. So included in that team meeting that I really love is we go over personal and business goals for each team member. So MK shares with us what his personal goals are, what he's trying to do, and we hold him accountable for doing that. And we love that because we become more a part of his family and he becomes more a part of ours. And so there are things about him that we know that are really huge milestones that frankly have nothing to do with business, but is incredibly important to him as a person. And so that's important to us as a team because we want to see growth, not just business wise, but personally within each of our team members.
I like what you mentioned there early, just knowing their personal goals and their business goals as well as a person, because again, not everything is about the roles, not everything is about the job. You also have things that you would want to pursue in life, right? I think that's a good way to bring the Cyberbacker and make them feel that they are part of the team, right?
Absolutely.
Now, one last question for you, Steve. And I forgot to tell you that MK is going to be listening once we have this episode uploaded. So we would like to know, what do you like most about MK, your Cyberbacker? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
His infectious personality. We love his personality, his positivity, his drive. Everything is so positive about him. Nothing really lets him, he doesn't get down about anything. He doesn't get frustrated. He embraces challenges. We have a saying in our office at 𝗙𝗹𝗶𝗶𝗹, And what we mean by that is buffaloes are the only animals out there that we know of that actually run into storms. And the reason is because they want to push through them. They don't want to run away from it. And that's exactly what I think of when I think of MK, is he pushes through the challenges. He pushes through struggles, obstacles, things that everybody has, but not everybody handles them the same way. So he embraces those and he goes through them with grace and class and with a smile on his face. And that's what we love about MK. He is always that positive force on our team.
We are very, very excited to see where this partnership leads to, of course, for the next couple of months. And again, Steve, thank you very much for dropping by. I had fun talking to you today.
Likewise, Jello. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to our daily dose of Cyber CEO. Stay tuned to know more about how Cyberbacker creates a difference in this digital time and age. You can visit our website www.cyberbacker.com and follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Spotify.